Not a Rabbi Podcast, Episode 1, Bag of Measles Cookies. Welcome back to the Not a Rabbi Podcast. Or welcome for the first time if you are a new listener. Got a lot of subscribers now, so I definitely appreciate that. What I wanted to talk about today was the question of vaccination, or not to vaccinate. That is the question, and that's been a big debate that has been going on in the Jewish community for quite a while. It's probably not a surprise. Maybe it is a surprise. Who knows? This is something that really transcends Judaism as opposed to being specifically within Judaism, because there are plenty of anti-vaxxers, as they are known, in the non-Jewish population as well as in the Jewish population. But what I wanted to do first is I wanted to play a bit from a podcast that I listen to and very much enjoy, called The Fifth Column, which is a more of a political podcast. And Michael C. Moynihan, who is the person that will be doing most of the speaking, with Eli Lake, I believe, chipping in, and Matt Welch chipping in as well, maybe Camille Foster also. But Michael C. Moynihan will be going ahead and detailing a little bit of a story that happened to him over Passover. And I think that this story that happened to him, and the way that he put it, and he is definitely doing some of this for comedic effect as well. I don't think he's an anti-Semite at all. I was going to say I don't think he's this much of an anti-Semite, but he is not an anti-Semite whatsoever. I think this is something that is for an effect, very important and very instructive to what is going on out there. And so I have tried to edit out any curse words that are used, because that show is generally curse word laden. But just to make sure that anybody that has that are listening to this and they have kids in the car or what have you, I have tried to edit them out. If one slipped by, I do apologize. I don't want to do that. Don't want to have that slip through. Anyhow, so here is the story from Michael C. Moynihan.
So I got off the subway and I am juiced and just walking down the street, like windmilling from here to there, pinballing, asking signs and, empty newspaper machines. And this guy,
that's called parkour.
This guy hops out. I live in a Hasidic neighborhood, by the way. Has been mentioned in the show a number of times. And this guy comes out and he's like, "Excuse me, can you help me?" And I'm like, "Oh God, what's going on here?" And then he looks at me and he says, "Are you Jewish?" And I'm like, "Come on, you don't think that? Is that just a question you have to ask?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got to ask that because you're not Jewish." No, I'm not Jewish. Because I assume, and Eli can correct me as the only Jew in the room. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
We prefer Ashkenazi American.
But even if I was not an extremely Orthodox person and I was just like a secular Jew, they wouldn't have asked me.
Right.
Because what they're doing is it's the Sabbath, right?
They would be like, well, if you were like, I'm
Passover.
Jewish, but I don't really care about halakha.
Yeah.
Say, well, why aren't you guarding the Sabbath?
Precisely. Right. They would bring you in for a different reason. And by Sabbath, tie you to a chair.
And by Sabbath, you mean like it's a holy day.
Yeah,
so
well, it was like
Sabbath,
Passover,
Friday,
also
Friday. The holidays. Got it.
So the guy's like, come into the apartment, and my drunken, I'm like really, really drunk. But for some reason, I'm treating the Hasidic guy like he's a cop, and I'm like trying to act sober. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm absolutely coming in for you. It's not a problem. So I walk into the apartment, and there's like literally, it looks